For our weekly segment on health and fitness, we are now joined by Gayle Taub. She is a personal trainer, nutrition coach, and owner of Gazelle Health to talk to us about what health actually is. Gayle, thanks so much for joining us again this morning.
Good morning. Always glad to be here. Thanks, Manny.
Gayle, could we first start off with talking about what is health and maybe those stereotypes when people think of the word healthy?
One of my favorite topics. I don't think a day goes by, and pardon my voice, I'm a little scratchy this morning.
No, you're good.
So one of my favorite topics, because I don't think a day goes by, honestly, that I'm not asked a question about, is this healthy for me, by people that I know and people that I don't know. So it's one of those terms that we, to me, overuse and gets confusing. A lot of times we look at what's right in front of us, what we're doing at that moment, what we're eating. Is this lunch? Is this food? Is this exercise routine? Is this healthy for me? And I would encourage people to look at the term healthy as more of an umbrella, the overarching goal that we're trying to achieve rather than what you're doing in that moment. And the reason for that is simply because health and wellness is much more about the overarching, what you're doing largely with exercise and nutrition, although health and wellness that going to the doctor, sleeping, all of those wonderful things that we do for ourselves, more than just, is the food that I'm eating right now healthy? Important, but not quite the whole picture.
Gayle, when we're talking about food, people might have a stereotype or an inclination that one food is healthy and one food is not. What type of advice do you give for someone that is either looking at the perspective that includes, something that is just more than one meal or a snack?
Yeah, so when you're looking at food, if you want to start with what the food actually is, that's a great place to start. Do you like it? Number one. Number two is it natural? Is it coming from a package or a can or a box? Or is it coming from a tree or the ground or an animal or perhaps a fish from the sea? So, the more natural, the less processed, the more healthy. The world does a pretty good job of consistently saying what foods are healthy, but then you're left with how much of that food. And is that food something that you enjoy? Healthy eating is enjoying your food. So when you're thinking about the food itself, think about the food, think about where it comes from, and then zoom out a little bit in that particular day and think about the other things that you're eating. You could very well be eating a very healthy, balanced lunch, but if the rest of your day is off kilter, if the rest of your day is either filled with junk or nothing at all, or whatever it is that's happening, then you might not be eating as healthy as you think.
Gayle, when someone comes to you and for the clients that you have and they ask, what is healthy for me? How do I figure out a good routine or a nutrition balanced diet? What kind of advice do you give them when they are trying to figure out what is healthy for them?
Yeah, so that's a tricky one, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm a fan of, if something is working for you, regardless of what the name of it, the program, what you're eating, how you're eating, when you're eating, if it's working for you, if you feel great, if you are maintaining, that's important, over the course of time, not just for a couple of weeks or months, but maintaining that diet, then I say go for it. It really doesn't matter what it's called or what program you're following. But if in fact it's hard to maintain, I would first start with thinking about what it is that you're trying to accomplish for yourself, that you enjoy the food that you're eating, that you're not being forced or eating something just because you've been promised a pound lost. Right? So first enjoy it, then look at what you are eating the entire day. And remember that no matter how the body loses or gains weight, the body needs well-balanced nutrition at the end of the day, long term, which means you need protein, you need carbohydrates. They're not the devil, guys. We need them. We need good fats. And we need vegetables. We need those vegetables. Fruits are in the carb category, depending on how you look at it. So well-balanced eating is typically what is something that somebody can maintain, which at the end of the day, I would believe that that's what most people want for themselves, not just to quickly lose weight and then gain it back.
Gayle, as we wrap up here, do you have any advice, maybe one or two things, that if someone feels that they have unhealthy habits, how they could implement small things that can make a big difference?
Yeah. So first, I encourage you to think about what is working well for you. Make a list of those things that you, let's say, you're happy with the way that you eat breakfast in the morning. It energizes you. It puts you off in a good start. Maybe you eat your, quality foods all day long. Make a list of the things that are working well. Then I would suggest looking at one thing, just one, and seeing if you can repeat a better habit for yourself. Let's take snacking for an example. Let's say that you find yourself grazing, right, all day long, and you don't like that for yourself. It's not serving you well. Maybe you pick 2 times a day and you set your calendar and you decide in advance based on your calendar or your day activity and the foods that you like, what you'd prefer to eat, and then stick to that for a while. Stick to it for days, for weeks, and see if you can make that a habit. There's no set day to say that if you do something repeatedly that you've now created a new habit for yourself in a certain number of days. It's long term. So see if you can do that, and then slowly but surely add those new habits, one at a time. Be kind to yourself. Know that you're doing some things well and add to that list. And if that confuses you, if that's overwhelming to you, if you're not sure where to start, then I'm somebody that can help. I can listen to what it is that you are trying to accomplish and help you down that path. So give me a call.
Gayle, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Always. Have a great day.
Thank you.